What's going on, y'all? The reviewer is here, and I'm back to give y'all this movie review of Lizzie. This movie is a psychological thriller which was directed by Craig Macneil, and this was released in 2018. Now, y'all know that I love movies based on true events, so this movie is about I would say the infamous woman named Lizzie Borden. Y'all know that she was accused or indicted of being hit with the murders of her father, Andrew, and her stepmother, Abby. This movie stars Chloë Sevigny as Lizzie and Kristen Stewart as Bridget Sullivan, or Maggie. She's known as Maggie on there. And then you have Kim Dickens as Emma Borden, who is Lizzie's sister, Jamey Sheridan as Andrew Borden, Denis O'Hare as John Morse, or Lizzie's uncle. I done seen plenty versions of Lizzie Borden films. The ones that I've watched, it kind of, it wasn't really up to par to what I expected. So I'll tell you whether or not this is, of course. All right, so I'm going to start it off. It started like when the times of the murder occurred, and the police have Lizzie being, questioned by the cops about the situation that occurred. Later on, it showed like 6 months prior to the murder. The year it took place in 1892 in Fall River, Massachusetts. All right, so then it starts back then with how Lizzie feels like she just feels like an outcast, if that makes sense. Like she wasn't really around, like socially, she didn't have a lot of friends, So it shows that her father they have money, and he was contemplating on how, whatever he dies, where the money will be sent to. As I'm watching this film, it just shows some crazy scenes that, they hired Kristen Stewart's character, Bridget Sullivan. She was pretty much a maid, so she would clean up and give them breakfast, food, stuff like that, give them clothes. And the father, Andrew, was accused of rape or, having an affair with the maid. Now, I don't know how true that is to the extent, but I know there's a couple of things on there that's pretty accurate. Pretty much though, throughout the film, it's really solid. And I'll say it's dark too. It's like a darker film from all the other versions that I've seen. I'll shorten this up and say that this was a very solid film. Some of the scenes on there didn't really caught my attention as the rest of them. I mean, even the rest of them didn't really caught my attention. But it's a lot of dialogue throughout the film, a lot of scary moments. And then, it starts getting better towards the end when there's a lot of tension between the family about how things was going to be later on. And I know people was wondering, do I think Lizzie Borden was guilty of the murders? I personally think that she was part of it. I wouldn't say she was guilty per se. Now, if y'all know the history of Lizzie Borden and the things that occurred, y'all would know I don't think she was guilty per se, but I think she was accomplice. She was an accomplice. Like she either witnessed it or she actually did it. And I think this was all done to try to prevent the inheritance from being sent to other family members. But overall though, this is a pretty solid film. Would I ever watch it again? I probably would not. Even though I like movies based off of true events, This one didn't really strike me as much as the other films that's based on true events. All right. But at the same time, I kind of understand why it wasn't a lot of suspense in the film. But what I will say about it is that as I read the history about Lizzie Borden, some of the events do kind of match up on the movie, like the accuracy of what happened, during this time. It was one part on there after Abby was killed. Sorry to say the spoilers, but if you read the history, you will kind of understand. But after Abby was killed, when the father came, the name was Andrew, when he came back from his morning walk to knock on the door, to open, for someone to open the door for him, Bridget came to open the door. And as she was going to open the door, she heard Lizzie laughing upstairs. Now, this was shortly after Abby was killed. Now, this lines up accurately with what I read, did my research on. Now, when I said Lizzie was laughing upstairs, it didn't say, Bridget switched it up and said she just heard laughing upstairs. Maybe it wasn't Lizzie. There was another scene on there that there was a lot of tension between Lizzie and her uncle because he wanted to do a couple of things with the paperwork when it came to money. That was kind of tense because when you understand what's going on in the movie, you will see why it got to that point. Like I said, though, I personally don't think this is a movie that I can watch over and over, though, because it lays down with a very solid film. It's not bad. I would say you have to be open-minded to watch a movie like this. And for a person that like movies based off of true events, this would kind of fit with that category. Besides all that, Chloë Sevigny did a really great job portraying Lizzie, and Kristen Stewart did pretty solid playing Bridget Sullivan, or Maggie. And everybody else did pretty well. Other than that, though, that's pretty much it. There's not too much to explain about the movie, other than say the movie was pretty much accurate on the historic events. Unlike the other versions, they tried to spice it up a little bit, but this one stayed pretty solid and dark throughout the film. So if you read the bottom part of the cover, it says, "A chilling reimagining of the Lizzie Borden murder." And I would say it is, because I didn't tell you all the stuff in the movie that happened. So if you know what I mean, or if you know what they mean by saying that, it does have like a chilling scene on a couple of them. Shout out to all the actresses and actors for making a pretty good film, and shout out to the director and everybody else that was a part of this film. All right, much love to the real folks, and I'll be on here back with another review. All right, peace out, guys.